film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind does a spectacular job at tackling deep-rooted and interesting themes within a rich and complex plot. A love story, no doubt, based on the idea that opposites attract and entertaining the concept of a soulmate. The plot feeds off of the sci-fi concept of the ability to erase memories through a machine that a doctor has invented. After a painful breakup, instead of dealing with the pain, the couple decides to erase their experiences of each other from their memories instead. They both end up deeply regretting this decision, and I believe what the writer is trying to convey through this was that we all have happy and sad memories, but that the sad memories are just as important as the happy ones. Because if you experience sadness, that means you have experienced true happiness. When Joel erases his memories of Clementine, he realizes he is not only erasing his sadness, but his happiness as well. The film is a non-linear narrative which employs the technique of reverse chronology. By beginning the film with a critical scene near the end of the storyline, it adds a level of suspense and interest as the viewer waits for the events to lead back to that moment. This gives an even greater catharsis when the scene comes on and you know what is going to happen next. Of course, the viewer is not fully aware of this discrepancy of time unless they pay close attention to detail, as the director hints at subtle clues to the true beginning of the story. I personally find this style of narrative the most enticing, as it requires active listening and attention to detail in order to fully understand the plot of the story. After all, if you're not going to actively watch a movie, then why watch it at all? The false beginning to this movie opens on a shy, reserved, and precarious Joel Barrage, played by Jim Carrey, spontaneously skipping work and running off to a series of seemingly random destinations. He then bumps into a girl whom he admits intrigues him, but he shyly tries to avoid. In spite of his efforts, she still talks to him and they have a very awkward exchange. He later bumps into her on the street and offers her a ride home, which turns into drinks and romance. After a short series of scenes building on the romantic potential, the movie takes a cutscene to what appears to be a breakup as Joel is driving away crying. This scene is where we first start to receive true info on the reality of what is going on, and chronologically where the movie should have began. When Joel gets home, he has an odd exchange in the mailroom, and receives a new pair of pajamas and some pills. After the pills knock him out, we see two men come into his room and hook him up to a machine. From this point on, the story is told in reverse, as Joel's memories of Clementine are systematically erased, starting with his most recent experience that just happened in the mailroom. It takes a while for Joel to realize what is happening, but when the machine operators working on him make some errors, it causes glitches within the system which jog his awareness. This is conveyed through some very interesting and cool effects that show Joel spontaneously jumping through memories and locations, as well as experiencing memories from a third-person perspective and the ability to hear what is happening outside of his unconscious body. The director chose some very specific and subtle methods of editing to show the motif of memory loss. In one scene, when Joel is trying to chase Clementine down the street, every time he gets to one end, she appears at the other, and every time he goes down the street, more and more of it disappears. Certain shops disappear, then the words on the signs, and then the whole scene altogether. The more memories that are erased, the more hints the viewer receives to the true nature of Joel and Clementine's introduction, as well as the more Joel resists and regrets erasing his precious memories of Clementine. Joel tries to resist forgetting Clementine in many ways, by trying to kill himself, by running away with her, and by hiding her in memories where she doesn't belong. As Joel begins to go through his earliest memories of Clementine, he realizes his efforts are futile, and he resolves to simply enjoying his last moments with her. In his final memory, we are very plainly told that at this beach is where Joel actually first met Clementine, and we get to watch the beginning all over again from the perspective of knowing that these characters have just had their memories erased. Memory is definitely a big theme throughout this movie, and I believe it alludes to the importance of memories and staying in touch with who we are. When Clementine has her memory erased, she starts feeling confused and says, "I feel like I'm getting old, nothing makes sense to me." And it goes to show that without our memories, we are destined to repeat the same mistakes, as Joel and Clementine disregard the revelation of their past failure. Overall, I thought this film was very well put together for being all over the place, and did a splendid job at conveying its themes through an entertaining and complex storyline. Thank you.